welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an All-Purpose Life, wherever you are and however you're hearing me. Call me Mr. U, the podcast. Thanks again for making us part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you go change the world, baby. We got a Herb and Raj podcast in the house. Football talk with Bo. Good morning, gentlemen. How's it going?
How's it going, guys?
I'm trying to be as good looking as you two one day.
Oh, brother, look at this. How's you guys' weekend? Anything awesome to share from the home front?
This was one of those like half work, half lay around weekends. So nah.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of running around on my end. So it wasn't didn't do anything cool, but I didn't watch any football, so that was weird.
Yeah, that was gut wrenching.
It's not to say that there was really football on,
right?
But
if there was, I didn't see it. I didn't even look for it. I don't know what happened.
I didn't either. I'm getting alerts on my phone about the game, and I'm like, come on, guys. Like,
I saw the score was like 60 something to 50 something. I was like, okay,
Are we talking? What are we talking about?
Flag football.
Because I didn't see any of that.
Yeah,
what kind of football?
Yeah, the Pro Bowl.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
I was getting Pro Bowl alerts.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So
it was funny.
Like two of the Tyreek Hill, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Right?
I didn't get any Pro Bowl alerts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I got football alerts, and then there was a goal line stand apparently, so they won 64 to 59. That's as much as I can tell you.
64 to 59. So nobody played any D. I guess we just said
no.
Stood around and drank coffee while they
So I mean that's true to the Pro Bowl, I guess.
Yep.
Pro Bowl hasn't had any D in years.
So sorry I missed it. Not.
Well, I mean, we all missed it. We just got the highlights hit the phone.
Yeah. The highest phone, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's more or less. I was like, oh, what do we got? And I'm like,
Let's give mom some love this morning. Mom representing. Good morning, Mom.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us. Always so faithful. We thank you so much. And the other half of the Herb and Raj podcast, seen every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. EST. Good morning, Raj. And, of course, the obligatory roll tide must be added in. You can't leave that out. Good morning, Raj. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well out there. Yeah, man, I forgot about the Pro Bowl. I wouldn't have watched it anyway, probably, but I think part of me, like football, I probably would have turned the channel to at least a portion of it just to nothing happened for me. So had I
been around, I think I'd have had it in the background. But I was out running errands and driving, and
no notifications, no alerts, no text from anybody watching it. Nothing happened. So I'm like, oh, it's kind of just slipped out of my consciousness. Didn't even see it. It's all good though. But we're heading toward the Super Bowl, so that's going to be this Sunday, right? I didn't see one commercial about that either. I'm like, wow, you guys are promoting this, right? I didn't see any commercials. No, nothing.
They were leaning heavy on promoting the Pro Bowl because I would imagine numbers are down. So
I didn't see either one of them. That's my whole point.
No. But I don't think they were doing a lot of Super Bowl ads during Pro Bowl weekend, right? Because the Pro Bowl started, I think, Thursday, right? Like the game started, I think all the
skills competitions, yeah.
So I think they started Thursday.
Competitions.
Yeah, so some of those things were cool, but I saw highlights.
It's kind of like this is like the NBA's one, just extended version.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But so I mean, some of those things were cool. It was funny though because I ran a poll last week on who was watching the Pro Bowl, and it was more or less a resounding no.
That's not surprising.
The number on it was what was hilarious. Let me scroll to it real quick because
I voted a no in that one.
I did as well.
I was trying to find the heck no option, but it wasn't there. I just picked no.
Well, I didn't want it to taint the graph having two no options, so it was 83.5% no.
Yeah,
16.5% is what said yes. Which is incredibly low. I would imagine the NFL is not encouraged by that.
No.
If
it was anything resembling the regular game, you have a chance with me. I mean, I understand there was no defense played in the other one, but at least there was kind of hitting and stuff. But once you flip it over to flag football, you just totally lost me. So, like, I'll watch the NBA All-Star game in the background. because they're not playing any defense, but at least they have the ball and they're going up and down the court.
Well, and when's the last time the league played defense anyway?
Right. So, but if they switched to 8-foot rims all of a sudden in the middle of the game, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. So,
so was there any redeeming quality from the game whatsoever? Was there anything redeeming at all from the Pro Bowl that you guys heard? Anything that
I didn't look at enough or watch any of the highlights enough to competently say. Like I said, I heard Tua to Tyreek was a thing. I know that he must have thrown him a touchdown pass.
Yeah, from what I hear,
all them games he didn't get the ball to him.
Yeah.
From what I hear, it was actually an entertaining watch.
Yeah, and the Mannings are the coaches, so I guess their reactions were worth watching too.
Well, I mean, Peyton takes it very seriously.
Yeah. So,
he wants to win, and he's lost 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Mannings. Now I regret I didn't get to see that part. Now.
Yeah. That honestly, that was probably my bigger regret. I need to go watch that highlight because that was one of the alerts that came across was Manning's reaction to winning and Manning's reaction to losing. So that I will go check out.
How did Eli do as a coach?
He's 2-0.
He's won the last 2 years.
I don't know what coaching they actually do. They just pick who goes out with.
That's not really what I meant, though. Okay, numbers wise, great. But
you're a numbers guy, though. I thought you'd be into that.
Oh, I expect him to win because that's what he does. But I mean, as far as him being a coach, do you see it he has that kind of potential to be that if he wants to ever venture into that realm, or is it nah?
I don't see Eli being a coach.
No. I think he's just fine doing the Manning cast thing with his brother, getting money to talk about Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
that's a pretty cush job.
Same with Peyton as well.
Yeah, I don't see Peyton getting into it. I think he could.
Yeah,
but
out of the two, I would pick Peyton before I'd pick Eli.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton just seemed like one of the most prepared people ever, so I could see that. But
I don't think he does, though. I think he likes the booth.
Wait. What was the shaking head? You don't think Peyton's a prepared person?
You don't think Eli was prepared?
See, so you're doing no. See, so what you're doing is what a lot of people do. If I say I like Peyton, you take it as an insult to Eli, and that's what people on Twitter do. Yes, which is exactly what you did. I knew when you shook your head, I was like, oh, he's trying to take it as a shot against Eli.
No, I'm asking you.
You can take it how you want. No, when I said Peyton, you shook your head like this. I said, okay, he already ready for it.
No, I said that because you said that he was prepared. That's why you think he can do it. All of that's in what you
said. He is one of the most prepared people ever. So that's why I think he could be a coach.
He prepared differently than most people in the league.
I didn't know you'd take it personal for Eli, but hey, my bad.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You're shaking your head like that already in the middle of it. I was like, oh God, I shouldn't have said nothing.
I'm good. Whatever he wants to do. He can stay home with his kids.
Mm-hmm. Sure, man. You got it.
People.
A lot of folks.
I'll stay out of the Manning thing.
It's fine. Bad. There's video of you in your feels. It's fine.
Yeah. As soon as you did it, he was like shaking. I said, "Oh God, I messed up."
It's fine.
I feel like we all get our turn.
Apologies to Eli. Sorry, Eli.
I feel like we all get our turn with the field, so I don't think we can go that route.
Oh, now we're gonna drag everybody down with you guys.
We a family. We a family. We all together. All for one for all, right? Right. Coaching carousel.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on this now? Because now, okay, I'm here from you, Bo, on the Hawks, because they got, I guess, the guy you said you wanted.
Yep.
The Commanders got the guy that was left.
Yep.
So, what do you guys' thoughts on this? I mean, Mike McDonald seemed to be. I had some information on him. I can't even find it now. My bad. But seems like he's really prepared for this. I think he's has the most potential of the guys that were left to be a head coach. There's a lot of excitement surrounding him. How you feeling, man? Because this is not, you didn't get Dan Quinn, so you're good. So you happy now? You feeling all right about this, or you got some reservations?
Well, I mean, it's the direction they kind of needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Quinn. The problem with Quinn is if you were bringing him in, you might as well have just kept Pete. He was one of Pete's guys. Wouldn't have made sense to do that. So to go get McDonald, obviously that's nice. Getting the defensive side of the ball is, beneficial because that's been the worst part of this team is on defense. They've been a bottom 5 defense the last 5 years. So those are the kind of things you want to see shorn up. So yeah, I think McDonald can do it. He brought in a assistant coach who used to be the DC for the Bills. So, you know, I feel like the defense is going to be on the right track. The offense obviously has a ton of weapons. So the direction they're headed looks promising. Obviously, we got to see them put it on the field, and then we'll know. But what they're starting to build looks like it's a step in the right direction.
Okay. Herb?
I was going to defer to him on that one because that's somebody I wasn't as familiar with, I guess, with the situation. So I feel like if that's the guy, I just knew going into this he didn't want Quinn. So that part didn't surprise me. Yeah. And I was honestly wondering how the Dan Quinn thing would shake out. Like, are we going by body of work for the whole year defensive, or how they kind of fell apart at the end? So that's what I was more wondering about. What factor would weigh in there? So
well, I think you got to look at big game meltdowns on defense, right? Okay. Because they're not an aberration. Like, they've happened in like the Super Bowl, obviously this last run, but he's had other issues in the playoffs. And, you know, does he have a great defense all year? Sure. Did for the Hawks too. Right. And then, but in those key moments, you see these letdowns in decision-making, and that's where, you know, not only did I have pause if he wasn't Pete's guy, but since he was one of Pete's guys, why fire Pete at that point?
Right.
Okay. So, Herb, how about the Commanders, man? How do you feel about the fact that
they hired Quinn?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I'm not like as into it. So this morning, that's all I was just doing is just reading different reactions to it. And it's almost split. Half the people are like, we fired a defensive coach to bring back another defensive coach. So what was the point? Other people are like, with this new management, will you get the support? You know, and they've got some good draft capital and some good salary cap situation. So it's like, I don't know. I guess sometimes when we're throwing these guys back into the mix, I would have liked to see them go with some young blood, I guess, or somebody new versus bringing somebody back out. I think it's kind of how you got new management, you've got a new situation. Like, why not? You know, it's like a whole new thing versus, well, let's just grab a guy who's done it before and let's just see how this works out. You know, I guess the needle wasn't moved for me very much.
With this that's fair.
Yeah.
I have no idea about the Eric Bieniemy part of this. So I'm like,
right. Because they just hired the OC also, right? So he's gone.
They did. Yeah, Bieniemy's gone. So they brought in Cliff Kingsbury.
Kingsbury, right?
Yeah.
Which I honestly didn't think. Like, I always thought Cliff was better as an OC than a head coach. So that part I didn't mind at all.
You ready to find that out?
I don't mind that appointment.
Say what?
Oh, I said I don't mind that appointment.
Okay, yeah.
Kingsbury.
Find out. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, you knew Bieniemy was going to be gone because they fired literally every other piece of that coaching staff. Yeah. So the odds of them being like, "Hey, you're the one guy," that just doesn't seem like a real thing. I mean, it could have happened. It's Washington, like anything's possible, but it seemed unlikely. So yeah, them bringing in Kingsbury, you know, he was a good OC, so I don't hate that for him. I'm real curious what happens with Bieniemy now, though.
Right.
I know
that was going to be my question.
The Seahawks need a OC still.
The Raiders probably do too.
The Raiders definitely do, since Kingsbury was supposed to go there.
Yeah, and the Raiders and the Chiefs are in the same division. If Bieniemy is thinking about some stuff.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
I like that.
Every year he'd be coaching the hardest. You see reverse flickers and plays you don't see in any other game.
On the coaching carousel note, quick thought from you guys about Ben Johnson. We're hearing a little bit about how the interview went, which we heard wasn't exactly great, wasn't stellar. I think he met with Washington, I think, and decided. I know I said it last week and the week before, perhaps. I said I know I read it in multiple places that he was the de facto guy.
Right.
Yeah.
When Detroit was done with their season, it was locked in, and now we're hearing that he's saying these are a bunch of basketball guys against Magic and Josh Harris, who we're talking about.
Right.
He got an overconfidence about their football knowledge. He didn't feel good about it. His agent saying the asking price thing is made up. He never asked for $15 million. I guess it was less than that. Obviously, couldn't be more. It's just a I guess a hampering on his future coaching opportunities. It's kind of a little issue, or do you think it's something he can bounce back from after another year in Detroit or more, perhaps?
I think bounce back.
You think you bounce back?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think bounce back, and I mean, both sides are kind of throwing little stones, so it's almost like a divorce before the marriage, and,
right?
Marriage.
They're saying he didn't interview well. He's saying he threw too many basketball people, and they're like, if y'all just didn't want to get together, just don't get together. Like, there doesn't have to be all the mudslinging afterwards. But no, I mean, Detroit has another good year next year, and I think he's right back in the mix of everything.
Okay, well,
yeah, no, I don't think it hurts his coaching chances at all. At the end of the day, this is a new ownership group that, to his credit, doesn't have a lot of football guys in the room. So I don't think any of the rest of the
That's not unfair.
What's that?
That's not unfair at all. That's true.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think any of the rest of the teams are going to weigh too heavy on that decision from that particular group.
True.
Ben Johnson obviously has a good body of work. He'll have another season in Detroit. So as long as it doesn't crash and burn next year, he'll be right back in the mix. It won't be a problem.
Copy that. Is it weird to you guys? I mean, we're still staying in the coaching room for a second here, but is it weird to you guys that we talked about Belichick last week, and you guys made it pretty clear that you didn't think he'd have a job, and you also shared your reasons why. Mike Vrabel was a little bit. It comes from the same tree, maybe perhaps guilty by association, but I think most of his issue was that. What I heard was that he was one inside. I think his name was I think it was Pelissero. I think it was. He was saying that Vrabel lost 18 of his last 24 games in Tennessee. That's not good. And then there was a culture there of the opposite of positive reinforcement, which is like, wow, okay, so those are the two things that might have hampered him from getting a job. But do you see that as if a coach gets fired early, do you see him getting an opportunity here, or is his year just done? He's doing something else until 2025. What do you think about it?
I could see him taking the DC job for Dallas, but
you could see him wanting to do that.
I don't know if he wants to, but I could see him being a good fit for that. The thing is the league, especially in this particular hiring season, really got away from coaches that coach hard. Like they really kind of gravitated towards coaches that are more upbeat, player-friendly type coaches. The ones that are coaching hard are the ones that are sitting without jobs. So the guys that are perceived to be kind of rough, we'll say, the Belichick's, the Vrabels, Bieniemy, honestly, has been known to coach hard. And, it's just something that kind of hasn't been received well over the last couple of years. And this year you've seen those coaches get filtered out. Now, do I think Vrabel gets a coaching job again? Sure. Because I don't think the failure in Tennessee was his fault. I think it was, I think that falls solidly on that GM not getting him any talent. I mean, when you got a bunch of old dudes that are out of their prime and then they're not backfilling talent, I mean, that team wasn't going to be good. I don't care who was at the helm. So do I think he gets a job probably next year? Yeah, I could see him getting a job next year.
I'm sure next year's going to happen. I'm positive of that part. Yeah. As far as a mid-season replacement?
Oh, probably not.
That could be
I wouldn't rule it out. I could see the Bears. I could see the Bears doing that if they start out like a dumpster fire and they pull the plug on Eberflus, right? Because they already fired the rest of the coaching staff, so they're going to have all new coaching staff except Eberflus. So if they come out and they're like 1-4, 1-5, I could see them, being impatient and getting rid of the guy.
Interesting thought there. I mean, Houston and Detroit are I guess they're outliers, or I guess they add to the arguments being made about the culture of positive reinforcement. Look at how that coaching is done and how the players responding to that. So I can see that. I feel like there's room for both of these in the NFL. You don't have to have all bulldog coaches or all soft touches. You don't have to. It's not necessary. I don't think DeMeco Ryans and Dan Campbell are soft touches by any means. You know what I'm saying? But they coach differently. than I think what we're talking about. So
Well,
it was.
The player coach thing is a little different, right? Because Dan Campbell is very much like one of the guys, right? Like he has his emotions on his sleeve. Like he is a very relatable dude. So he's building something the players can rally around. Do I think he's hard on people? Sure, but hard in a different way, right? Like I don't think he's just in there. He doesn't seem like one of those guys that's screaming in your face, grabbing your face mask, like, what's wrong with you? You know, kind of thing. Like, he doesn't seem like he's that dude. He seems like he'll coach you hard. But, you know, whereas when you look at a Belichick or a Vrabel or something, like they seem like one of those in, you know, OTAs when you're still doing, you know, still learning stuff. They're grabbing your face mask, like, what's wrong with you? Don't run that route. Like, you know, they just seem like they could. Obviously, I wasn't in the building. I don't know, but they seem like that era of coaching.
Yeah,
I think Ryans and Campbell. I think they both got that in them. I seen both of them play.
Yeah.
So yeah. They both got that in them. Whether it's on camera or not ain't really relevant. I'm sure it's happening still. But I think that how the players will see stuff is the more integral point because look at the people around. We talk about the millennials all the time and we joke about it, but it's not really a joke. Look at how people respond to criticism and look how people respond to stuff on social media.
I mean, you don't even know if you can go if you don't watch your tights.
Right. So, you know, there's probably a reason why a guy like Ryans went after a guy like Will Anderson then, you know, because he knows where he came from. They both went to the same school. And he knew it's coming up under Saban that if I get this guy as a rookie, I can coach him hard because he's already used to it for the past couple years. So I think that's the reason why they jump back up to get a guy like that. And then that helps. Like, hey, I'm riding the rookie, and he's out here playing well. Like, how's the rest of the roster going to say, well, don't coach me hard, but you're coaching that guy? You know what I mean? So I think that was a very calculated move on his part for that reason.
Absolutely. All right. So speaking of the Bears, there's a story about Caleb Williams, agent giving Colin Cowherd a call in regards to his comment that he made. I don't have the comments in front of me, but basically Cowherd's comments were that Caleb Williams does not want to come to the Bears. He's anti-Bears. His group is anti-Bears, the whole 9 yards. Basically, submarining him for any chance of the number one pick if Chicago's going to still hold on to it. So Williams' people call Cowherd's people and disputes the whole anti-Chicago reporting. He said what they don't want to do is be traded to a Sunbelt place that tops off the upper deck. Now, that's a strange term to use. Right. In this scenario, that usually happens more in baseball. I think the A's have been known for that because the attendance was so low, they would top off the upper.
Yeah.
As far as football goes, I don't recall that in recent years, but I'm sure it's still happening. But that kind of speaks to somebody, I guess, who doesn't have a lot of attendance in their games.
Sure.
Here's the layout. From 32, Chicago, they had the lowest attendance in the entire league last year. Las Vegas is next at 31. Arizona, which kind of sounds like a Southern Belt place, doesn't it? 30. They're 30th in attendance. New England is 29th, and Washington was 27th. So I don't know if that whole Sun Belt comment. It felt like it was didn't need to be there. He added it for a reason. So like, who are you talking about? Because Chicago is not really Sun Belt.
No.
Vegas is. I don't think they do, but Arizona
definitely is.
Sounds. I think the stadium is called a Sun Belt Stadium. Isn't it something like that? They got some kind of relationship to Sun Belt or some kind of terminology. So are you saying you want to go to Arizona?
He doesn't have any worries about going to Arizona. They're not going to get rid of Kyler. They can't yet.
Well, it's talking. I'm sure they're trying to do something. You hear it too often for it not to be some kind of fire to that smoke. So something's going on there. But I don't know why you would miss that comment.
The cap hit would be too much to overcome to get rid of it.
I ain't in their wallets. I don't know what they're doing. They can be creative because I don't know what. I'm out here talking about it. I have no idea what they're doing or what they can do. But I
think Arizona is probably one of the few that's not getting a quarterback. I think that's why they wanted Kyler back out on the field at the end of the year. They wanted to have one last kind of, performance from him, or whatever. So I think they're probably one of their few.
Okay.
Yeah. But to your bigger point, man, can we just have Caleb Williams come out and say this? Like, I'm tired of your people talk to your people. Like, somebody sit him down in an interview and ask him a direct question. Are you avoiding going to Chicago? And just say it out there out loud. You know?
Nice. I think Elway told people himself. I don't think it was his agent. I think he said, "I'm not going to
Right.
Baltimore Colts. I'll go back and I play for the Yankees rather than go there." I think Elway mouthed that himself.
Yeah.
But in Caleb's case, people are talking for him, and I'm, that whole Sunbelt thing. That's weird. That's a weird comment to make there. But the anti-Chicago thing, don't shoot yourself in the foot because you need to be drafted somewhere because you want to be in the second round. That ain't going to be great for you based on your pedigree and all that you've done. You want to be in the first round if possible. So you can't talk yourself out of that first round pick. I don't know.
Well, I don't think he'd talk himself out of the first round. Like someone would take him, but could he talk himself out of the first overall pick? Sure. Which, I mean, you'd be losing some money in doing that. But yeah, I mean, he wouldn't drop out of the first round anyway. There's too many teams that need quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. So Jackie Robinson story.
Yeah.
Wow. I wanted that so bad last week. I wanted to go there. The emotions was high. Maybe it was a good thing that we didn't get a chance to break it down because I had some super, super high feelings about it. Not because I'm African American. I thought about those kids. When you mess with the kids, that's an easy way to take me off. It takes me to a whole different place where I don't even recognize the person that's talking. I'm in a whole different zone. You don't want to mess with me. We got little kids giving their $2, $5 allowances to pay for the statue. That thing ticked me off. But what does it say? Maybe this is a commentary on me. What does it mean when you hear some potential thoughts of vigilantism being a possibility and it excites you? What does that say about me? What does that say about the world that we live in? The chief of the Wichita Police Department, he said, this was a message to the people who were the perpetrators. He said, it's in your best interest to turn yourself in. I'm like, put that in a movie right now. It works. Put it in anything. John Wick, Taken, anything. Liam Neeson, it works.
Right.
It's in your best interest to turn yourself in. I'm like, my mom like, what did they do? What's going to happen if you catch them? I'm like, yeah, this is how you get stuff done. Not all this, we're doing a full and thorough investigation. It's in your best interest to turn yourself in.
That's right.
Or you know
I got a particular set of skills.
Mess around and find out. I'm like, wow. What you guys thought on the story though, overall?
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping it's dumb kids, right? Because if it's anything more nefarious than that, then we're talking about a whole different thing. But it looks pretty big. Well, that's the thing, is it's a big statue. It looks like they kind of cut it and then broke it off, right? So I mean, you went out there. It's not like you were doing something dumb and you put a strap around it with your pickup and tried to knock it down. Like you literally were there cutting the ankles off and then broke the thing down and then, get it into pieces, light it on fire and put it in a dumpster. Like it doesn't sound like kid stuff, right? Like if they just broke it down, right? Like they knocked it over or something like that. Like I could see that being, kids are doing dumb stuff. Like, sure. But this seems far more involved. The thing that's encouraging, I guess, is, the original cost on it, or his estimated cost, I guess, is about $75,000. And they did a GoFundMe and they raised $180,000 for it already. So, I mean, it's already in the works to get replaced, but, disappointing to say the least.
Yeah. I'm with you too, Mr. E. Like when we were slated to talk about this last week, I was angry. And I was like, yeah, it's probably good we didn't get this one. You don't need two angry guys on Bo going like, all right, guys.
It's funny because
Bo, we down this out.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's because I was also, because one of the shows I was on, we did talk about it, and it was later at night, so they weren't worried about curse words popping out, and they definitely did, because
rightfully so.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like as people, what are we doing right now?
Yeah. And to be clear, I don't mean that Bo wouldn't have been angry, but you would have had to be the host. So somebody would have had to balance.
Yeah.
Somebody would have had to balance us. So,
that's trying to reel it back in. No, I got you.
That's exactly what I meant. Yeah. I mean, this is weird to me. We've seen stuff like this, similar.
Sure.
in recent years. I mean, vandalizations and graffiti and words spray painted on walls. We've seen that kind of stuff before.
Sure.
There's somebody out here probably. I haven't met them yet. I don't think I want to meet them. They don't want to meet me. They may say, you know what? This is just a statue. So what? It's not a person. It's just a statue. That's what they may say. But this town, I don't know how big Wichita is. I'm sure it's pretty up there in population. They felt like they were robbed of a treasure. This is the kind of words they had in the media they were sharing. You robbed our community of a treasure. That's why that whole vigilante thing, that's not hype. That's not hype. That's probably a real thing. Like, yo, if we find you before you turn yourself in,
yeah,
your legs might get taken off. I mean, that's how they're making it sound, because they put this treasure, this statue on a super high level. I gotta be honest, I didn't understand that part of it. I'm like, wow, y'all gonna kill somebody behind the statue? I'm down with the 600 kids that's part of this league that that rely on it. It's a symbol of their hope to play baseball someday. It's a big deal to them, especially where they come from, impoverished townies and stuff, and not having a lot of financial means. Them playing baseball and doing it successfully could change their whole family's trajectory. You know what I'm saying? I get that part. Those 600 kids, that's what gets me. But it's like, man, they said you robbed us of a statue, of a treasure behind this statue. I'm like, wow. I have no more to say about that. I don't know how to explain that any better than that. It's like, wow, y'all about to go all out. You're about to go full small town vigilante behind this statue. I'm like, wow. I don't know where that's coming from. It's like, I'm talking about citywide manhunt. I'm like, yo, I just see that on TV on 21 Bridges two nights ago. Yeah. They like that all the bridges. Citywide manhunt.
All I'm saying is I'd watch that show.
Yes, I'd be tuned in. And I think it's the vandalism act of it. If somebody steals something, you're like, all right, maybe they're trying to get the money out of it. Maybe they're trying to resell it. But this is just like hate. You know what I mean? Exactly. And it just brings out a different emotion in you, I think. And that's where I think the vigilante act. They said, oh, they stole the statue. They're ransoming it off. We'd be angry, but we're like, all right, we're going to get it back. And it's a different kind of feeling. But for somebody to like take your wallet and just, grab your money out of it and just rip it up in front of you and throw it down, they're like, I didn't even care about it. I just wanted to hurt you. And so I think that's where the anger comes from.
I'm with you there. But the location of this place too, this is Kansas.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, this is not New York and Florida and DC. This is the Bible Belt, basically.
Right.
Kansas. Cornfields and all of that stuff you imagine. And they ready to go buck wild on somebody over this. It's like there's a lot to unpack with it. Like, it's just crazy, but awesome, man. Any thoughts? Any further thoughts on a whole Louisville basketball story? There was I saw about seven teams. VT and Pitt were a couple of them. Miami, I think, was one, and Duke, and three others. They all giving support to Coach Payne, saying he got a broken system. He shouldn't be fired. He's doing a great job. Tyler Johnson went off and broke records. I think was it last night against FSU? Last night or night before? He broke records, man. Him and another player whose name I forget, but they went off. So they got some pieces there, obviously, but the record's not really great. I think they're still at seven and.
He's still possibly getting fired.
Yeah, so it's like.
Yeah, no, he's probably getting fired. But
is it rare to have other coaches that have played you speak up for you? They can talk about the players, and they did that, but you can speak up for you as a coach and say, you know what, he deserves more time. Is that rare for you in college basketball?
I've seen it in other sports because coaching kind of becomes a fraternity, and the players do that, I guess, like all the time on the pro level. So it's definitely interesting. You don't usually see it on the coaches of this level, like there's the higher up coach, like with Coach K when he was coaching. Like I could see people jumping out to defend him, not that he ever needed it, but it's interesting at this level, especially for a coach like I'm honestly not that familiar with, and with a losing record and like. What are we defend? No matter what you might say about his character, what's going on, like he's probably still getting fired. Like the team's record is terrible, so it's not no matter what you say.
He was hired last year, right?
Payne?
Yeah. Or has he
I
been
mean,
there for a while?
he was like 10-42, so he had to be there for a little bit, right?
Okay. Yeah,
At least in his second year, I think he was.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. Like, I think he was hired last year, so I mean, it seems like you'd give a guy a second to actually, like, I don't know, recruit and like get guys in the room, kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, this system was. We talked about it last week, I think. I mean, this system, the franchise went bottom up when they brought him in. It was wrecked. It wasn't the Louisville that we've seen in Final Fours and March Madness and stuff. It was decimated. So
2022 is when he started. March of 2022. So
so like that's my point. It's like, okay, so how fast do you think you can turn a program around? Because it's not like in the pro leagues where you can be like, you know what, we're just going to spend a lot of money and go get some stars. Like, you got to recruit, you got to bring people
actually it is kind of getting like that though, Bo.
Well, I mean, with NIL, but I mean, still different. But I mean, it is getting closer, I guess. But it's I don't know. Like, that seems like an unrealistic expectation to turn the thing around the next season, especially at the college level.
Yeah, I think it's because the negative news coming out with other stuff, and if you're in your second year and coaches are feeling like they have to defend you, I think that's what moves this story more towards, or is he getting fired quicker? And I think the problem with NIL and transfers is it speeds up the clock for everybody. Everybody's like, well,
sure,
you can get a turnaround in 2 years, right? I mean, you really still shouldn't.
He didn't have 2 years. He was hired in March, right? So they were basically already out of it, right? Because March Madness is for teams that are good, which they weren't.
Well, I mean, I guess this would be his second full year that he's in right now.
I would think so. Something like that. Yeah, I mean, personal thoughts. That's stuff we talked about last week with some of the internal players and that back and forth, and then the issue with the shorts.
I mean, that was hilarious. The tights thing, like that
was utter nonsense. I mean, I like his response to it. I mean, I got a little sarcasm in me from time to time. I like how he responded to that on the open mic. Man, you can't fire him because some guy wants. I mean, your main guy wanted tights that they never had.
Exactly.
Or one guy was released from the team for personal reasons that they didn't bring him out and say what it was, and he's talking back like, no, they lying on me. Okay. So it's like, I can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
I mean, most people get 3 years at least to that's kind of the place where you kind of hit the curve, you kind of a turning point. Even in the NFL, you give him about 3 years and see what happens. I don't know if Brian Daboll can get that, but I'm saying, give him 3 years to figure some stuff out. If they can't do it, go ahead and pivot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, did that make sense to you guys, or was it just me?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I feel like he deserves a little bit more time, but I mean, with the way things are today, I don't know if he gets it. Yeah. I mean, your record's bad. It gets you fired.
Man. He played there, and they get ready to bump him. He played there and made Louisville history there. And he get fired? Wow.
Yeah. And then you get fired in 2 years. Like, who's going to want the job next? Like,
who can survive here? A guy who's maybe perhaps on the walls, it's not the rafters. You gonna fire him? Wow. So who can come here? Rick Pitino was like Rick Pitino he was part of so much stuff, and he was there longer than that. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like you gotta give them a little bit of time to actually recruit guys.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can do some stuff in the transfer portal and NIL and all of that, but at the same time, you still have to fill out a team.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you're gonna get 1 or 2 guys that way. And outside of that, like, you got to cultivate a culture. And can you create a culture in 1 year? I mean, probably not really, not effectively.
Not in any form of organization whatsoever.
Yeah,
not even at McDonald's.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I feel like they're doing them themselves a disservice, but that is kind of where things are at. Like, you win or you're gone.
Yeah.
So
you see our country's going down. That's what you're saying?
I mean, that might be expanding a little too much, but not entirely wrong, but just
So you go ahead and own it. I co-sign with you, man. I'll sign the document. It's all good. All right. So there were quite a few things we're going to talk about beside that, but it ain't going to happen from a time standpoint. I'm kind of starting to become a little bit more obsessed with this veteran backup quarterback deal. I know we talked about it last week a little bit, probably the week before as well. Because we've seen some of the guys that had to come in because their starting quarterback, like i.e. Mac Jones and some other ones, Ryan Tannehill, some other ones that I'm not sure if Sam Howell applies to this, but Desmond Ridder, I think, did to some degree because he got replaced eventually. But we got these guys that are veteran backups. Just like some of these guys, I'd love to see them do something else as far as like probably get a starting opportunity. I think there's room for it here because I got a list of names. This list is so long I can't even name the whole list. It's like about 22 people, 22 quarterbacks that are backups or they should be in the NFL. And it's like we heard names like Joe Flacco. He just can't. He went off for a short period. All of a sudden, he kind of went back down. Jameis can't walk out there without throwing a pick in New Orleans. Carson Wentz, I'm not even sure what he did production-wise. I didn't even hear his name except that he backed up Matt Stafford. I have no idea what he even did. Tyrod Taylor was out with an injury for a good while. I think about 8 weeks or something like that. Gardner Minshew, one of Bo's favorites. We talked about that. I don't know. Jimmy G is like just got a big 3-year contract, very big for a 3-year deal, and didn't earn any of it for the most part. But what are you guys thinking about the whole backup quarterback situation? It's some guys that you like. Do you think if you give them a chance, they can do something? Because a lot of these names, if you give them a chance, probably still won't do nothing. Marcus Mariota had the Atlanta job in his hands. They gave it to him as a starter. So you know what? This is your franchise. Run it, baby. And now we got Desmond Ridder back there. So there's a lot of guys that got that chance. Sam Darnold got that chance maybe a few times, at least twice that I can think of right now. Got the ball, couldn't run with it. Sam Howell was kind of the same, but a little bit different, but same result. Couldn't run with it. Who do you like out there that you think could be a quality starting quarterback in this league if given the opportunity?
I thought, like, and I don't know about the veteran part because he still seems pretty young, but I thought Browning from Cincinnati would maybe get a look somewhere, if you had him for a full year. But I mean, I look at his contract and they just got to pay him $900,000 to keep him next year, exclusive rights. So I'm like, well, you're stuck being a backup. And I think this year showed you. I mean, what's your most important position as a quarterback and what's your second most? The backup quarterback. Like it almost felt like that way at times. So
especially this year.
Yeah. So it's I think every week we were chronicling like 2 other quarterbacks going down. So I don't think Browning's going to get a choice anyway. Somebody who we didn't even see. I just kind of wonder what's going to happen to is Trey Lance. You made a trade for him, and and you've already got Cooper Rush, who seemed to be good and backup already for you. So what? I mean, is he in purgatory now? Is anything going to happen? Is he actually going to get a shot somewhere? So is this?
He was definitely in purgatory because he didn't even get a dress for the playoff game.
Yeah,
he was inactive.
So what happens next there? Those are interesting situations to me.
Those are good names, bro. How about you, Bo? You got anybody that comes to mind?
It's funny. As much as people don't like him, I would bet that if Carson Wentz actually got a decent spot, because he had a good year with the Colts.
What? I'm shocked. Come here, man.
No. Again, like if his brain wasn't a bag of cats, right? And he could lead men.
A bag of cats?
Bag of cats. So, again, allegedly, what we've heard exactly, right? Don't do the show. But no, I mean, the things that you've heard as far as locker room presence and all of that. So like if you got that away, if you just went with skill set, because he had a good year with the Colts, right? Then he goes to Washington. I never really hold Washington failures against players because Washington was such a bad organization that kind of assume if you're going to Washington, you're trying to end your career. Like that's where careers went to die. So if he And I would bet that this point in his career, he's probably not that same guy that he was when he was getting so much hate in locker rooms. Like you have to think that as he got older, he has some self-reflection along the way, losing starting jobs, not really getting a shot. Like, I think if he got a shot somewhere, his arm is probably still good enough to play in this league. It's just, can he get out of his own way? Who knows? But like, I could see someone taking a flyer on him, even if it's just a stopgap position.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe not a guy you want starting for the whole year, but if you get him in for 3 or 4 games, he'll get you.
He can definitely win you a game.
Fair enough. Herb gave us 2 guys, and I had 2 in mind. Do you have one more? You want to give Bo?
As far as a backup that I think could start.
Yeah. This could be a little question going into this season because some of these guys here is like they got to do something. These franchises have to do something, and they're not all going to be drafting. They have to do because they can't. They have to do some different things because of their makeup. But
like the only 2 guys that I think someone might take a flyer on because they've seen good things from them. I could see someone taking a flyer on Cooper Rush, right? Like when he's come in, he's played well, right? Now he played well with a good team. Yeah. So,
and the team he's been with for a minute to like the system. So, yeah,
exactly. That's and then I actually think Drew Lock did enough in his starts that I think if a team needed a quarterback, certainly if they were to sign him and then, like as that second guy, and then, maybe he has to play. I could see a team bringing Drew Lock in because I don't know if Seattle gets to keep him because they're in some cap trouble. So he's probably going to be available. He'll probably be a cap casualty for this team. Yeah. And if that's the case, he's demonstrated the ability to come in and win a game.
Yeah. He's like one of those guys. Like if I was drafting a quarterback, then I would, and I wanted them to sit, then I could get Drew Lock on cheap to get me through a year. Then that's like one of those flyers I would take.
No,
that's what Drew Lock makes me think of.
Yeah. He's a wild card, but they're talking about Geno in that same light.
Yeah.
Well, but he's a starter, so it didn't really fit
$14 million. I mean, $14 million to save just by cutting him or trading him is like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So Seattle had the kind of problem you're talking about. They can't leave Geno off the table, and at least thinking about it.
No, I mean the problem with doing that is you don't have other things in the room. Like you got Drew Lock, right?
Yeah. There you go.
They're not trying to get worse. We were talking about a backup that isn't going to be bad if they have to come in. Not, let's just hand the keys over to a backup.
Right. All right. Well, I'm going to toss mine out real quick just for time purposes, but I've always been I won't go as far as a fan, but I've always liked him out of the draft. I like Davis Mills. I thought that he had a lot of the stuff you'd want to have in a starting quarterback. There were times where he flashed. He didn't have the talent they have on the team right now. I think Stroud got the benefit of a lot of that. A lot of those guys weren't there when Mills was out there throwing the rock around. But I like him in that place, especially since Stroud is definitely the guy. I think Mills deserves a chance to be a starter somewhere. Hopefully, it's not Carolina or no places that had that kind of struggle. Because you already been there. You already did that. I love him to be in a.
You want him to have a legitimate shot.
Yeah. A more stable situation. You could probably guess what franchise that is, but I can't name him right now. But some a little bit more stable. They're developing a little bit more stable. The other guy surprised me a little bit because I looked at the whole list and like, I don't like the idea of where they're going to trade Derek Carr, and I don't know if the Giants are going to move Daniel Jones when he's fully healthy and get trade value from him. I don't know. But Tyler Huntley is another name. I've seen him behind Lamar when Lamar was out, which was something that happened fairly often over the past 2 years or so. Tyler Huntley always played really well. He did that stuff that I don't want Lamar to do, but he did it well. He was effective in that. He was effective even with the deep passes, which I thought was like really good for a backup, because it might be behind a lot of the time. So if they come in as a backup, they might not be leading games. So the ability to throw the deep pass is really good. Huntley has that. He's pretty creative too. So those are my 2 guys right there. No other guys to name. Kobe Brissett was the name that popped up, but
Yeah, I saw his name pop up there. And two guys that I'm maybe not confident in, but I do wonder, like the Zach Wilson and Bailey Zappi situations. Like where do those two guys actually go from here?
I don't know who's even going to start in New England. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think they know either.
They have the same problem the Steelers have. All they have is backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you hear the rumor about the Steelers and Russell Wilson? Did y'all hear the rumor?
No, but
that's a weird.
Interesting.
His name is just popping up because I tweeted before said, don't, even though the money seems prohibitive, don't rule out the Broncos thinking about a trade. They may have to eat that money for a year, but
two.
The cat
for 2 years.
Who's trading? Like who's giving up assets?
The second year is not gonna be that bad. Second year, I think like I voted like about 34 million for the second year, but the first year is major, like 50 or 60, but the second year is like 34. So that's more palatable, I guess, for some teams. So Steelers popped up. It is a lot, man. It is a lot. Steelers name popped up because they need a veteran quarterback. I guess they're trying to say that Pickett is expendable. I don't know, but Wilson coming inside there.
Nobody solidified anything in the quarterback position there, but I can't imagine giving up any draft assets.
Not Trubisky, that's for sure.
Russell Wilson.
No, definitely not.
Not Trubisky.
I haven't seen enough out of Wilson to make you feel good about giving up draft picks.
Yeah, definitely not.
He went
up. See that?
You don't see it? Okay, this is gonna be great. I can't wait to see how it turns out because I don't know.
Yeah, what are you seeing that we're not? Because I mean,
no, it's just a rumor to talk about. I'm not seeing nothing. I'm not reading. I'm reading.
I was gonna say, like, what did you see out of Wilson that we didn't? Because I mean, I watched it. Yep, bag of cats.
So thanks to you both. Tomorrow night, I'm guaranteed to hear this phrase at least 2 or 3 times.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Put a little TM next to it, Bo.
That's right.
Nobody might be trying to handle with the whole bag.
And he's gonna say it, and he's gonna look at me like this. And smile.
Yes.
Yeah. I ain't seeing nothing that says, you know what? I mean, Steelers do have a veteran quarterback. I agree with that. I'm not saying it had to be him, but in the list that we just had just now, I mean, who would some of those names that we just named, they probably could fit there. It probably could work. Maybe everybody that we named could fit there. But
yeah.
I mean,
veteran, I'm like veteran.
There's just other options out there that don't hurt your team the way going after Russell Wilson would.
Yeah.
I hurt, you mean financially or on the field?
No, having to give up
financially and not just money wise, but cap wise. Like it would hurt you in 2 different ways. I mean, if you were going to go that route and you were just looking for competent quarterback play, Kirk Cousins is a free agent. Like he'll hurt less than Russell Wilson's contract.
I would rather
you don't have to trade anything for him. He's a free agent.
As long as he's fully recovered, yeah.
Sure.
I think we're just saying we wouldn't trade for Russell Wilson.
Let's be real. There's some guys that will probably take Daniel Jones if he was healthy. It's not. I mean, he's not healthy.
I mean, I guess
they got to heal up and.
If my options were Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson, I'm going to probably make a play for Russell Wilson. But because of other options out there, there's no reason to go after Wilson because of how much it would cost to go get him.
Denver's going to be in the news for the what's the date they had the buyout? March 31st.
It's such a dumpster fire there because they spent so much time basically alluding to the fact, hey, you're out of here, we're done with you, and then they walk it back a few weeks ago. They're like, oh no, there's a path for him here. It's like, yeah, because financially you looked at the numbers and were like, oh, I mean, I guess he's going to be here. This is first year of his big contract. Right. There's nothing you can do. If you eat it, you basically have to let half the team go because it destroys your entire cap. So,
there's a lot that I don't like about how that whole thing went down. Because I mean, I don't know if Hackett was the worst coach in the world, like Peyton would say. I don't know about all that, so I can't measure that. But Wilson got sacked 55 times in that offense.
Sure.
I'm like, come on, that's not all his fault. And when Peyton came over, Wilson actually improved.
He did.
You say what you want to say, but he actually improved numerically. So it's like you can't punish him for improving. So it's like it's just kind of weird what's going on. If the coach don't like the player, ain't nothing you can do.
Well,
You can
and
buy him
that
all the
seems to
snacks in the
be
world.
that seems to be part of it. Is
A
it
big
looks
part
like
of it, right?
it looks like from the outside, Peyton doesn't only not like him as a quarterback, but he seems to not really like him as a human. And
Yeah.
So it's just
Because
like
he talked bad about him when he walked into the building. Like, hey.
100%. And I mean, if you're going as far as you're not a politician, don't kiss babies. Like, what are we even talking about right now? Like, like it's not like he's stopping practice to run over and kiss a baby, right? That's his own free time. Like, who cares what he's doing? So, I mean, some of it just seems like he has some personal issue against Russ, which, hey, whatever. They are very different personalities. So maybe they just rub each other the wrong way. The downside is the team already extended him before he ever took a snap with the team. And this is the first year of that huge contract. So y'all get to hang out, right? Like it's that you may or may not like your sibling. And at the time, you know what? You get to hang out. You guys are related. Best of luck. You can hate each other all you want. You get to hang out. And that's kind of the situation they seem like they're in.
Yeah, well, eyes are going to be on him because I just kind of feel like it's just too much stuff stirring for, I guess, nothing to happen. Something's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be or how it's going to look, but something's going to go down. It's just too much stirring. It's like, man, supposedly starts and has a really, really bad first 6 games. I don't see how it can potentially happen, but maybe it could.
Well,
have a bad first 6, 7, 8 games. What happens then?
Stidham gets a start because they like Stidham. So Stidham would get the start in that scenario.
Everybody
if
likes Stidham.
He's terrible. Because realistically, if you looked at some of the games from Denver last year, even though they won the games, you look at Russ's stat line, like it wasn't great, right? He'd have like 3 scores, but 180 yards, right? And that's because the defense got turnovers. They were in positive territory. So they didn't have to drive very far to punch it in the end zone. It's not like we were seeing Russ driving the field on these long drives in every game. Like that's not the offense that was happening. Every time the defense didn't get turnovers, they lost. So it's, even though his numbers were improved over year, it's not like when you were watching the games, you were seeing these, 80-yard drives and they're doing it 2-3 times a game. They'd have like one decent drive that probably ended in a field goal and then a couple of positive territory touchdowns.
So, in your opinion, can Russ still cook in this league?
Small meals.
TV dinners? What do you say?
Microwavable stuff. Yeah. Like,
mac and cheese.
Hey, tell them don't even turn on the oven. Microwave in the corner.
So
Herbert's saying Russ can't cook. Okay.
I'm saying read the instructions carefully. Vent where it says to vent. Don't make any changes.
That's right.
Little microwavable
thing. Cheese. You gotta make sure you take the cheese out of the plastic foil first.
Yeah.
So Herb say Russ can't cook. Both can Russ cook or not?
In the right scenario,
like
somebody's preheated the oven for him, is what he's saying.
Yeah, like handed in the pizza, so he just slides it in. No, it's not quite that bad, but like he needs a good running game, and he needs an offensive line because he's not as elusive as he once was, right? And so he can't necessarily do the pirouettes and escape to make plays. Like he needs protection and he needs a running game because if everybody knows he has to be the guy, they also know the fact that he doesn't love checkdowns.
Right. So
he's going to try and stretch the field. Well, now you get to play your defense very different. So he needs some things to. So are the things he's good at.
What happened?
Seems like he wants to, be back there and be Drew Brees, where he's just slinging the rock around the field.
He can still do that. He'll be okay if he can still throw the ball. He'll have a chance. But I don't know. Is he still that 300+ yard guy? I don't even know if he can.
Well, the thing was before when he was putting up those kind of yards is you had guys like Doug Baldwin, one of the most sure-handed receivers out there, that wasn't afraid to come across the middle. Right. So he was fine with, catching the ball and going to the ground and protecting himself. And so the thing is when you watch them play, he doesn't have that guy. So they're basically trying to stretch the field all the time. He doesn't love using tight ends. He never has. Yeah. So it's either stretch the field or you're 3 and out, which is one of the problems that we ran into in Seattle towards the end of his tenure here. And so it's there's a formula for him to be successful.
All right.
It's just whether or not the team can put it around him.
Copy that. All right, Herbie. You got to break out, man. So real quick, man. Super Bowl predictions. Which team can be shutting it down? Good morning, Niner gang. Thanks for joining us, sir.
As much as I
Come on, get it out. Let's go.
As much as I don't love it, I Niner gang here popping in. I think their team probably gets it done.
Niners get it done. Okay, Herb.
Niners get it done.
Yeah, I'm probably going to pick the Niners. We're going to do our special, I think, later in the week. But it's like everything tells me that that San Francisco will win. But I didn't think that Kansas City would get this far either. So it's like, I don't know.
We'll talk about it more on Wednesday too.
Yeah, definitely talk about it more because I think my pick's going to be last minute. I think I'm going with the Niners, but my pick's going to be last minute. So,
I need the Niners to win. Okay, it ain't got nothing to do with no.
I don't.
I need that. You already made your pick, man. You out of this now. You can't change your mind now. I need this to happen.
No, I still pick them. I just don't want them to win.
I know why you don't. I don't have a dog in this fight. I just don't want the other dog to win. I want the Niners to win, and that's just that. Okay. Oh, more comments coming in. CMC and Trent didn't wait this long to lose it. Okay,
that's fair.
It's all about playing ball. Playing the game on the field, though. So,
yep.
I want the Niners to win because I don't want to hear any more of this other story. I can't take no more of this stuff.
One thing
I want to be free of this. Okay.
One thing that'll be entertaining is if the Niners win, Cowboys fans will lose their minds.
Bonus.
Exactly.
Bonus. All right, man. Well, we out of here. Herb, thank you again for your time, but I'm ready to jump out of here. Bo, always good to see you, man. Any closing thoughts before we break out?
Nah. Have a good week, guys.
Yep. Way to start my week off good, man. Appreciate you guys.
Let's go, baby. Super Bowl.